So tomorrow would be the beginning of the issue 6, the animal research unit. And it'd start with asking them what they know about animal research, just sort of get their brains moving.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there'd be the do now, and that's the one about using the word debate. My family sometimes blank, to blank. So have them fill that out.
Yep.
And share their answers.
Yep.
See, and then we'll have the actual reading.
Data file.
Yep. And then I wanted to do the sticky thing you did.
Okay.
With the exclamation points. I thought that was cool.
Okay. All right. So they can use exclamation points to put what?
Just for
Surprise them.
like for the interesting facts they found in the
Yep.
In the writing.
Yep.
And then have them share those. And then there's that brainstorming section about how humans use animals. And we'll talk about that. And then I think that would be what I'll do for filming. And then if there is more time, we could move on to the definitions part on the next page.
Right.
Last time I thought we would get more done than we did, so I think this time I'm going to plan for a little less.
Okay.
And then
Right.
See how that goes. Yeah, and then I did those definitions with the other class when the sub was here. So
Oh,
I
you
know,
did?
Yeah.
And so it took a little, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty. We were able to make it as long as it needed to be.
Oh, okay.
So I can, depending on how the timing with everything shakes out, perhaps do that. Now I got my cool questions. Let's see. What are the expected learning outcomes for this particular learning plan? I'd say the learning outcomes is becoming familiar with the information surrounding animal testing and sort of priming students to be able to debate one side or the other. Like we saw with the guys today, like getting them ready to make those statements.
Right.
And let's see. What characteristics of learners have been incorporated into the learning plan? In terms of prior knowledge, learning preference, strengths and weaknesses, interests. Well, the prior knowledge piece, I think, is the sort of the function of the overall class. Like,
Yeah.
we do it now, the steps. And the learning preference piece, I would say, would be the sharing with their partners.
Yeah.
I think this is a good one for sharing because it's pretty. There's like with the Title IX thing. I'm pretty sure if you go back, very few of the students said they were against Title IX.
Right.
Whereas the animal testing, there's a little more
Right.
personality to what sides they might take. And their strengths and weaknesses would be that they're familiar with the process. They all definitely are opinionated, so I'll give them opportunity to flex their opinions. And the weaknesses might be the focus, and that walking through them, talking to them as they work in their groups, I think will help support them. Hopefully, stay on track. Essential prerequisite skills and skills students need to successfully complete the learning plan. Well, the prerequisite skills would be, again, that's sort of the function of the overall class, or the process of doing things in small steps, and building on things. And the new skills would be, I suppose, the like the specific words that you're talking about today with them, choosing the best words to support how they phrase their argument.
Right.
But in terms of tomorrow, that would be more of like a teaser to that. Like that won't be the emphasis as much.
Right. And if you notice in period 4 brainstorm, they started putting makeup, stuff, product stuff. They put it as separate ones, and just to know those are all scientific research. Like they might put it as separate things. Like, did you notice that?
Right. Yeah.
Did that?
Absolutely.
Like, that was that research could do with makeup, could do
Right,
with.
yeah, yeah. And that's actually a good point to tell them to be as sort of like more categories in their
Right.
things and
Yeah.
very specific things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was hard for them to think of animals as food.
Right. It may have freaked out some
I
of
know.
them.
Exactly.
My niece one day when she was in elementary school, she figured out that chicken was actually chickens, and it really freaked her out.
Oh,
And,
wow. Does she still eat chicken?
no, she stopped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's see. How will you provide support for students who have not yet acquired these essential prerequisite skills? Well, I think all the students are aware of the process of sort of how each lesson builds
Yeah.
on itself, but again, like going around group to group while they're working in pairs is probably the best way to help support them. And then them making sure they're paying attention when people are sharing so they can have the correct sort of responses modeled for them.
And especially Anthony and Stephanie, they don't get started right away, so it takes them
Right.
longer to finish.
Right, yeah, I noticed that because when I did the other lesson, I started this side of the room when I was checking on things, but I think this side of the room is the side that tends to drift a little more, so I think I'll be more on this side.
Yeah, just switch it,
Let's see. How does the learning plan maintain continuity and appropriate developmental sequence in subject matter, concepts, and skills? Well, again, that's sort of decided for us.
Right, as part
and
of the curriculum.
right, yeah, and it's very continuity based. How does the learning plan fit into larger curricular framework? Again, it's that building more and more tiny skills to overall goal of being academically fluid. How does the learning? Oh, I just read that one. How will you determine whether students have made progress towards applying the concept and skills they have learned in the new and novel situations? Well, definitely through monitoring them in the group discussions, but the brainstorming piece at the end, like you said, making sure that there's thinking in broad terms and being able to connect those, you know, the idea of how eating a chicken affects a chicken's life, and you know, this sort of larger scope of the article. And so these questions as well. How will you differentiate for non-IEP students? Well, for non-IEP students, I think it's easier to answer how we differentiate for IEP students, and that's in the level of engagement when they're working in the groups. You know, like I know his big thing is staying on task. Like, sort of when I'm checking, and as opposed to everybody, we're seeing sort of a broad general how they're doing with the IEP students. Honing in on the IEPs when I'm checking in with them.
Oh, right. Right. And then the non-IEP people, like the English language learners, you'll just monitor?
Yeah, I think sort of the general monitoring, and like, you know, in her case, perhaps not just talking with her about it, but actually having her read her responses. So I'm trying not to say names because I'm not supposed to out anybody as.
Oh, right. Got it.
Yeah. But you know, let's see. How will you plan to measure whether students have learned what you're trying to teach? Again, that would be that sort of how they pull all the reading together to answer that brainstorming piece, and be able to relate each category they come up with.
And then when they're presenting their ideas with their group, right?
Right.
So that's like a culminating, because they have to give an example, like for one of them actually.
Right. Yeah. So that's perfect. That you know, that really makes them focus in, make connections.
Yeah, it connects everything. Yeah.
Cool. Really, that's all my questions. But yeah, I think this one will be pretty easy to keep them interested. Like I said, it's sort of eye-opening to think of everything you use is tested on animals and things. Like, I think they'll
Yeah.
definitely have opinions,
Yeah.
which will be good.
Right, right.
Get them to talk.
Yeah, this is a good issue. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So this, okay, that works.